Hey there. Today I'm going to show you how webSlinger automates data extraction from a complex website. We're going to extract invoice details from Amazon orders, including order dates, prices, order numbers, and the description and price of every item in the invoice. Why do we want to do this? Amazon no longer offers a way to download invoice data, but webSlinger provides a way. Amazon orders are moderately complex in that different orders have different numbers of items. In the detailed data, these are grouped by delivery date. Orders can also be charged to different payment methods, which is something we want to extract. The invoices are spread across multiple pages. Extracting this data manually is non-trivial, but webSlinger handles it quite naturally. You just show it diverse examples of what you want, and it generalizes from those examples to extract the detailed data from all of the orders. First, let's do some reconnaissance. Here is the first page of my recent orders. We can see that each order is shown with some data visible. At the top of the page, we can select the time period of orders to display, choosing from the last 30 days, past 3 months, or any recent calendar year. When we select a time period, it tells us how many orders are in that time period. In this case, 86. The order cards are shown 10 to a page. We can see how many pages there are by scrolling to the bottom and looking for the number of the last page in the pagination widget, in this case 9. To get more invoice detail, we can click on this link labeled View Invoice, which takes us to an invoice detail page. The grand total here will match the amount charged to the payment method. We see each item in the order with a description and price. We're going to want webSlinger to extract data for every item in every invoice over the selected time period. Piece of cake, right? Let's go back to the webSlinger website so I can show you how this is to be done. On the website, we go to the Record tab. Here we find a form to fill out defining the recording session. I have filled it out already, but let's walk through it together. First is the initial website or URL, in this case, the orders page on Amazon. This is where we just were, so we know we can access this page without having to log in, as webSlinger operates in the same browser. Second is the task description. Here we explain what we want to accomplish and add some tips to help webSlinger figure out how to do it correctly and efficiently. We'll come back to this after we fill out the goals. Before we record anything, we need to plan what we are doing. In webSlinger, this plan is called the session goals. It's a specification of every kind of data we want to input or extract. These are essentially demonstration goals. You can include navigation steps in the goals too, if you like, but webSlinger will record all your navigation steps in either case. The goals will be visible in the webSlinger overlay during the recording session, making it like a checklist you can follow. When we activate webSlinger, it will take us to the initial website we specified. In this case, no further navigation is required, so we can start with our input action, where we specify the time period for the extraction. All we need to do is tell webSlinger that we have an input we want to call timePeriod, and we can describe it if we want. The preferred syntax is to write input : space, followed by the variable name. I use camel case for variable names, but it is not required. Then a dash and a description. That's all. In the recording session, we show webSlinger where this input is. Next, to extractions. numOrders, the number of orders displayed on the top page after we select a time period, and numPages, which we'll get from the pagination widget at the bottom. The syntax is extract : space, followed by a variable name to receive the data, a dash, and an optional description. Next, we're going to extract data from all the order cards on the page at once as an array called Invoice Summary Data, with 4 fields: order date, order price, order number, and invoice link. We can do this because webSlinger detects the order cards as a repeating structure. Every order card on the page has these fields in common, and we want all of them, especially the link in the invoice details. The syntax is array, followed by the array name and a list of variable names in parentheses, then a dash and a description if you want one. Finally, from the invoice detail pages, we want card type and card number for the payment method, the invoice price, which can be different from the order price if reward points or gift cards are used to reduce the amount charged, plus item description and item price for every item in the order. Now let's go back to the task description. The first sentence reads, "Get Amazon order invoice detail for time period provided in input data." This is a high-level description of what we want. webSlinger expects to get some input data and expects to provide some output data. Now it knows the input data is called time period, which you can also see from the goals. Then we say, orders are shown with multiple order cards per page. We have to navigate to each invoice to extract the details we want. Here we're describing the lay of the land, pages with order cards that are related to invoices. What next? The session map will demonstrate how to extract invoice details from orders with different numbers of items per order from multiple pages, including some with different numbers of delivery dates. We're telling webSlinger what to expect in the session map, multiple examples of invoice data, and what variations to expect, multiple items grouped by delivery date. Next we have pay attention to how the URL for each page is constructed so we can access any page at will. I have a funny story about this line. When I first attempted this automation, I demonstrated how to get from one page to the next by clicking on the Next button at the bottom of the screen. When the automation ran, for every invoice, webSlinger navigated to the first page, then clicked the Next button however many times it needed to get to the page it was working on. Then it navigated to the invoice and extracted the details. Needless to say, it took a long time for that script to run to extract data for the entire calendar year. But I let it run because I wanted to see the results. You laugh, but it worked. Did I mention this was the first try? How many automations of this complexity have you ever written that worked on the first try, even if excruciatingly slow? Since then, we have improved the prompting to favor efficiency, and a statement like this helps webSlinger to see structure in the URL that it can exploit for efficient navigation. The next line, we will loop over the pages, extract the invoice summary data for the page, then navigate each invoice link to extract additional data. It's important to tell webSlinger that we're going to loop over all pages since we're only going to demonstrate extracting the summary data for one page. In the next line, we describe how we want the output data organized. The output data must include the order date, total price, and order number from the summary, as well as the card type, card number, and invoice price from the details page, and the item description and item price for each item in the order. The last line addresses the issue of how to match description and prices of items. Ensure that for each item, the item description and item price are in close proximity in the DOM. With our task description and goals defined, we're ready to record. First, we click on the Ready button, then activate webSlinger by clicking on the webSlinger extension icon on the browser toolbar. Activating webSlinger launches 3 browser tabs. In the main tab, the first thing we note is the webSlinger overlay up here in the corner. It shows the state of our 3 recording tabs, server connection status, and at the bottom, the validation log, where we'll see confirmation of every action. Above that is our list of goals. Our first goal is to set the time period, but before we interact with the dropdown, we need to tell webSlinger that this is an input, a value that could change each time the automation runs. We click the Input button on the overlay. See the colored boxes? webSlinger found all the input elements on this page. Brown boxes are dropdowns, blue boxes are text fields. We right-click on the time period dropdown. In the context menu that pops up, we can choose the value we want to select. Let's pick 3 months. Leave the other options alone and click Record. Good. The validation log at the bottom of the overlay confirms the input is set to 3 months programmatically in both the main and validation tabs. The main page now shows our orders for the last 3 months, and right here it displays the number of orders placed in that period, 86. I need to extract that number. I click the Extract button on the overlay. Now every extractable element on the page has a colored box. Blue is text, green is price, red is date, purple is a link. I need to right-click on the number of orders. The context menu shows me this element and its extraction options, with the value that would be extracted shown in white. The text of the main element shows 86 orders placed in. We only want the number 86, which we can extract using text num. I'll check that and click Record. The validation log confirms the extraction. Now I need to scroll down to the pagination widget to get the number of pages. Here is the pagination widget. The last number before the next button tells me how many pages of orders there are. Let me extract that. I'll click Extract again, right-click on the button, select the numerical value, and click Record. And the validation log confirms numPages was captured. 2 extractions done. Now for the big one, the invoice summary array. Each order card on this page has the same structure, including an order date, a price, an order number, and a link to the invoice detail. We want all of them. I'll click the Erase button on the overlay. webSlinger just scanned the page and automatically detected repeating structures. See these numbered boxes? Each one is a container that holds repeating elements, or one of their instances. We're looking for the array whose instances are the order cards. In this case, the array is number 6, and we can see the instances labeled 6, 1 over 10, 6, 2 over 10, and 6, 3 over 10, and so forth. We right-click on one of these instance numbers to open the Array Extraction context menu. At the very top, we see the number of instances found for this array, so we know we clicked on the right one. We can see the name from the goals being assigned to the array. Below that are all the fields webSlinger detected across the order cards. Each field shows an occupancy percentage. That's how many of the order cards contain that field. A field at 100% means it appears in every single card. I can just click the fields I want to extract. I want the text of the order date, the numeric conversion of the order price, the text for the order number, but for invoice link the text doesn't do me any good. I want the attribute href, so I click the little arrow to open up the attributes for this element and click on the actual link. Now I click Record to complete the array extraction. Now look at the validation log. It shows the array extractions with the size 10 by 4, but let me show you something cool. If I mouse over the log entry, a tooltip pops up showing data for every single order card that was extracted, all 10 orders with their dates, prices, order numbers, and invoice links. Pretty cool. It only took 6 mouse clicks to extract this data. Now webSlinger has links for all the invoice detail pages for those 10 orders. Now we navigate to the first example invoice detail page. This one has a single item and uses the card ending in 2468. First, let me extract the payment card info. I'll click the Extract button. From this one element, I can extract both the card type and the last 4 digits. Now let's get the grand total invoice price. The validation log confirms extraction of all these values. Now for the item. Now we have item description, and now we have item price. We can see they were extracted in the validation log. For the second invoice, I'm going to page 3. Here is an order with 3 items and 2 delivery dates, and a card ending with 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll extract the card info and invoice price the same way. Now I'll extract the 3 items. The third and final example is on page 4. I'm clicking another invoice with yet another variation. By showing webSlinger invoices from different pages, it learns the URL pattern so it knows how to navigate to any page directly. This invoice has 4 items with 2 different delivery dates and also another card number. Let me extract the card info, invoice price, and items one more time. We've now shown webSlinger 3 different invoices, different numbers of items, different payment cards from 3 different pages. That's enough variation for it to understand the pattern. From 3 examples, it will be able to generalize and extract all 86 orders. We now have all we need. Let's save the session map by clicking the Save button, and now we give the session map a name. Good. And now the session map is saved. Now we go to the webSlinger website to generate an automation script from our session map. The script generation wizard walks us through 4 steps. First, we select the session map we just recorded. Next, we name the script we'll be generating. We can also edit the task description if we need to give webSlinger more guidance. We're good for now. Next, we review the metadata, the input and output variables from extraction. webSlinger pre-populates these from our session goals and matches the goals to the example data we collected. It looks like webSlinger did a good job. All the extracted data is properly matched to goals. Had that not been the case, we could change the assignment via one of the drop-down menus. All the output labels are in the drop-downs. If we collect something not in the goals, webSlinger may have generated a label for it. If not, we could click the Add Output Label button to create a new label. This would then become available in all the drop-downs. Now we look at the array columns. Note the array here shows the first 3 rows of extracted data. The column looks good, so we can move on to the next step. Here we see our input variable, timePeriod. If we wanted to generate a script where timePeriod could take on multiple values, we would click the box next to the variable, indicating that it should be treated as an array. For example, if we wanted our script to be able to loop over the set of calendar years we provided, we would check this box. However, for this demo, I'm fine with a single time period. That's all we need to do. Now we can generate the script by clicking the Generate button. Here we go. Script generation can take a minute or two. Let's skip ahead. The script has been generated. Since we have input data, webSlinger has provided us with a template that we can download and modify to suit our needs. We click the Download button, then open the template in an editor. This shows us the time period we selected in recording the session map. This is what we want. Let's save this somewhere we can find it later. Now let's run the automation. On the automation page, I select the script we just generated and upload the JSON data file we just saved with our input. In this case, the time period we want. Now we click the Ready button and the web page code checks that all is in order and tells us to activate the webSlinger extension. When I click the extension icon, webSlinger opens 2 automation tabs and starts executing the script. It's navigating to Amazon, selecting the time period, extracting the order counts, processing the summary array, and navigating to each invoice to extract the details, all automatically. The automation log shows the progress of the automation. We see it input the time period, extract the number of orders and the number of pages. We see extract the summary array for the first page and start to navigate each invoice page and extract the payment info, price, and items, one page after another. This is going to take a while. Let's skip to the end. Here we are in the last item. Our automation has taken 21 minutes to run this thus far. Now it's completed. We can go look at the output data. The output data downloaded as a JSON file. Here's what webSlinger extracted: the number of orders, the number of pages, then for each of the 86 orders, the order date, price, and order number from the order card, the payment card type, and the last 4 digits and the invoice price from the detail page, and then every item with its description and price. Different number of items per orders, different payment cards, all organized consistently because we showed it the variations. Well done, webSlinger. And that's the full workflow. Plan the session by defining the tasks and goals, record the session map from a handful of examples, review the metadata, and generate the script. Set up the input data and run it. From a few demonstration clicks to a complete extraction of all 86 orders, automatically and ready to run again anytime with any time period you choose. Head over to webSlinger AI to try it for yourself. Thanks for watching.